Give a warm welcome to Katy Townsend.
We're gonna try the chair. Oh, how terribly uncomfortable. How are you? Oh, good, you're vocal, that's good. So when I was in my mid-20s, my first ever girlfriend had just broken up with me, and I was so sad and heartbroken, and my friend said, hey, let's go to a queer feminist storytelling night. Anything could happen. And I was like, oh, all right. So we went, and I was, sitting in the audience when a flash of light caught my eye, and the most captivating woman I've ever seen entered the space. She was very tall with slick back golden hair and these dazzling cat-like almondy eyes, but she was so much more than that. She had this air of mystery about her, and she oozed this magnetic confidence that almost made me envious, and she sat at the back of the room, and I turned around to steal a cheeky wee schoolgirl glance to find that her gaze met mine. And then we had this cute little moment where she was looking, and then I'm looking, and then she's looking, and I was all aflutter, and the show finished and this woman made to leave, and I knew I had to stop her. God forbid I let this woman escape and go on with her life. And really, I wondered to myself, can I really pursue a woman like this who's so regal and sophisticated? My heart was still achy from my breakup, and I was feeling very insecure, and I'm also neurodivergent, so just a walking human soup of anxiety and chaos all bubbling under the surface. And something I do to deal with that is I sort of activate this normal person avatar to try and fit in, which is basically a smoother, less neurotic version of myself to hide the twitchy Celtic bridge troll that I really am inside. True. So I swoop in, silky smooth. I think I try and make a lot of eye contact with this woman. Hello, you're amazing. You're an amazing woman. I'd love to get to know you better. I'm expecting her to do a Cher from Clueless, ew, get away from me, or whatever it is, but she doesn't. She smiles and she asks for my number, and she tells me she's a writer and a philosopher. Her name is Blake, one word, Blake. Cher, Plato, Blake. Oh, the stars are aligning. I thank the universe for my future girlfriend. And the next morning, I'm so surprised when I wake up to a text message from her asking me to meet her at the Bright Spot Diner in Silver Lake. Come now, she urges. And I'm kind of rattled by her spontaneity and her eagerness. And I'm doing a twitchy little troll jig out to my car. And I just got a date with Blake. And I get to the outdoor terrace of the diner, and Blake's already there, basking in the California sun. She looks like a Hollywood starlet in between takes at her Vogue shoots. She's head to toe in white chiffon with scarlet red lips, ethereal, swan-like, glowing in the sun. We shake hands. She says, hi, Katie. I say, hello, Blake. Good to see you again. We sit down, and she apologizes. She said, sorry, I can't stay for very long. I have a couple of lovers waiting for me at home. And I'm like, I feel like she just said lovers, but that doesn't even make sense in that sentence. So I just politely pedal forward with the conversation. I say, so, Blake, you're a writer. And she said, well, my dream is to be a writer, but right now I'm delivering sandwiches for a local supermarket while I'm training to be a dominatrix. This time I don't mishear this word, this alien word, dominatrix, echoes within me like a sort of a death metal roar, dominatrix! And I'm like, oh my God, it's big and it's scary, and I don't like it. And I'm not completely naive, I am in my 20s. But I feel like we don't have dominatrixes in Scotland. We have sheep and we have David Tennant, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We're also the people who brought you the Willy Wonka warehouse experience. So if you've been to Glasgow, You know that you would shudder to think what a Glaswegian dominatrix would actually be like. Gnarly. Now we're sitting in this cafe and we're surrounded by bustle and chatter. We're sitting across the table from each other, and Blake suddenly calls across the table with like the casualness and like candidness of like, "Hey, have you tried the avocado toast? So, are you kinky?" Every cell within me freezes. Am I kinky? I mean, at this point, I've had like 2 boyfriends, 1 girlfriend. I've had partners. I've done stuff, seen things. I know about the world, right? But as I'm sitting across from this beautiful woman with her cat-like almondy eyes piercing my soul, I suddenly feel like I know nothing about the world. I feel like I don't even know like who I am anymore. She moves her chair a little closer to mine. And she says, "You know what really turns me on?" And I'm like, "I don't know, getting fisted in public places." I don't know what you sex people are into. She says, "I'm really turned on by awkward women who are deeply uncomfortable in their own skin." And I'm like, "Oh no! A dominatrix with a troll fetish? I didn't ask for this. Or maybe I did." Suddenly there's a flash of light through some trees, and it catches Blake's white chiffon shirt, and the entire thing becomes transparent right in front of my eyes. And I realize that I'm staring at her hard, erect, pierced nipples. They've been there the whole time. I just hadn't noticed, and I feel like full troll, like I'm reaching my final form, like full troll is activating, panic and shaking, stirring from within. I don't know if I'm like turned on or if I just am craving instant death and for the ground just to open up and swallow me all. She moves in really close to me and she leans in so our faces are quite close together. And she says, "There's something I really want to do to you right now." My thighs snap shut on instinct. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's finally happening. I'm about to be fingered in broad daylight at the Bright Spot Diner. Whether I like it or not, I knew this day would come." She reaches into her bag and I am like freaking out inside. Like I'm like panicking. Like I'm like, "Oh my God, what is she gonna do? What is she gonna Mary Poppins out of this bag? Is she gonna try and dominatrix me?" And even more worrying still, would I like it? To my surprise, she pulls out like a little felt heart with a pin through it. Like something crafty that you would make at Michael's or get from Michael's. And she leans over and she threads it, above my chest. She kind of just threads it there. And she says she has to go, and we leave and walk out together. And I could feel like a sigh of relief, like, oh my God, I can finally escape and squirm away like the sex-shy, spectrum-y little slug that I really am. So I go to shake this woman's hand, as politely as when we first met. And without warning, Blake suddenly charges at me, smashes me against the guardrail behind us, grips my neck with the force of like a 300-pound wrestler, like clutching at a hot dog, and shoves her tongue deep into my throat, choking me out in broad daylight. It's disturbing. It's filthy. It's 50 shades of what the fuck is happening to me right now. She discards me at the side of the road. Blood red lipstick smeared across my lips. She crosses the street, gets into a sandwich delivery van, and drives away. And you'll be unsurprised to know that I never did see Blake again, but to this day, her heart is still pinned to my chest. Thank you so much. You've been great.